Welcome into the Keepers Fantasy Football Show. My name's Paige DIMAKOS, and I'm your host, and I'm here with Chris Schubert.
Hi, guys.
And Chris is very upset.
I'm upset because I'm trying to make funnies on the Twitter, and I can't. Because,
Chris
hold on, I'll
really
show everybody why.
About his funny jokes.
I'll show everybody why.
Let's make this about Chris and his funny jokes.
I'll show everybody why.
Come on, Chris.
Tell me that's not funny.
Grossi says apparently the Browns were celebrating their trade and forgot to call in the deal before the deadline. You forgot to put it in night mode, Chris.
Sorry.
Okay. Just got to put it in night mode. Just hold on. Hold on a second here.
Just going to leave. Just going to leave. No. Okay, let's put this,
no, Chris, take a deep breath. Let's put it in night mode. Okay? It's not that hard.
The problem was it's always in night mode. I don't know why now all of a sudden it's not in night mode.
You got to put it in night mode, Chris. You got to put it in the dark mode so everybody can see it. It's Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. We're here talking fantasy football. We had a show ready to go this morning, and then we threw it all out because there were a million trades that happened today. The Browns did Browns things. There's nothing more that you can count on more than the Browns doing Browns things. And let's talk about it. Go ahead, Chris. Now you want to make your funny.
The Browns. Well, I had the guy eating the popcorn because I was waiting for more tweets about the Browns. Because apparently they had a deal for AJ McCarron, and they forgot to call it in because they were celebrating too much.
We got a comment live on the Twitter machine that said, who's more clueless, the Browns or Chris Schubert?
You know what? You know what? No, because I'm going to make this is good then. I'll just send my resume to the Browns. They'll hire me.
Yes.
So joke's on you because I'm going to go work for the Browns.
Jokes on Twitter because he's going to get paid a
lot of money to go mess up the Browns.
Doing things that the Browns
So you're welcome, Cleveland. You're welcome.
All right, well, let's get into the show here. We got a lot to talk about. There are a lot of trades around the NFL. We're going to kick things off with Jay Ajayi because he was a top 5 projected running back heading into this season. He was playing for the Miami Dolphins. Obviously got traded this morning. He is now on the Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in the NFL. He's a part of a much better offense, a much better system, and he has been a huge disappointment in fantasy thus far. So there is nowhere to go for him but up.
Yeah, and look, LeGarrette Blount up until this point had averages around 8 fantasy points per matchup. That's at most a flex spot. That's at most a guy that you're maybe considering a running back to flex position on a normal basis. I think in this offense where the bulk of the work isn't going to be asked to be Jay Ajayi's, it's going to be Carson Wentz's responsibility to win them games. Where in Miami with Matt Moore and Jay Cutler, he had to do a lot of the work.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I don't think he's going to have to run the ball 25, 30 times a game. I think it's going to be the 15 to 20 range, and that's really going to be it for him. So I think he's going to have a lot of success. I think he's going to get in the end zone more, and I think he's going to be worth more than the 8.4 points on average that LeGarrette Blount was putting together.
No, I'm with you on that. There is no way that Jay Ajayi's overall fantasy value does not go up going to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the next trade we're going to get into here is Jimmy Garoppolo. This is the first thing. This is kind of the first thing that let the dominoes fall for all of the trades that happened before the end of the NFL trade deadline today at 1 o'clock Pacific time. This trade is interesting if you're in a keeper league, if you're in a dynasty league. This is the type of thing where you go in, you see potentially if Jimmy G is worth something going forward. We're getting a couple of comments here on Periscope. Jimmy G is overrated. Not sure about Jimmy G. I'm in that boat too because we've seen what happens with New England quarterbacks, okay? They're in a certain system. They've been playing for Bill Belichick. They've been playing with the guidance of Tom Brady. They leave. They look really good. They go play in another team. And they're not so good. I do think that Jimmy G is the most opportunistic to be a good quarterback.
He's got the higher ceiling.
He's got the higher ceiling. But a fantasy quarterback this season, no way.
So here, I'm of the mindset that when you have a guy in Jimmy Garoppolo in a dynasty league, a keeper league, a situation where you are going to have the opportunity to keep him beyond the season, you're absolutely looking to bring him in and hold him on the bench. Whether or not he ends up playing for you, you don't have to play him because, look, I think before we know if Jimmy G is going to be a good fantasy quarterback in year 1, and I have my doubts about it, you're going to need 2 games. You're going to need 2 games worth of Jimmy Garoppolo to be able to determine whether or not you're going to want to play him. And Paige and I were talking about this before the show. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo becomes a worthwhile fantasy asset until you're in your fantasy playoffs. And I know and maybe Paige agrees with me, I am not starting Jimmy Garoppolo when my fantasy season could be on the line.
Okay, full disclosure. I have Periscope.
I now see what is going on.
I have Periscope over here, and Jamie Eisner, who's the managing editor of FanRag Sports, is just laying on the fire.
I'm the Jimmy G of the show.
It is he called Chris the Jimmy G of the show, the less talented version on the show. He is laying. Guess
I found my Halloween costume for the day.
Jamie's just letting it all go. But let's get to a question here. Derek Carr.
Shouldn't he be working? Hold on. He should be working. What is he doing watching the show?
Love you, long time. Derek Carr or Jimmy G? Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, easy. Even in a situation where I have Derek Carr.
You have Derek Carr, and he's been underachieving.
Yes, he's been
100%.
underachieving. I'm still playing him.
Well, not only that, but Jimmy G's not actually starting this week.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to. As much as you and I kind of think that there's a little bit of coach speak going on here.
Yeah, there's always
I think it's a little bit too early for him to come in, learn an entire new system.
Well, he's never been a part of this offense.
Yeah, and learn what Kyle Shanahan wants to do. Learn his wide receivers in, what, 3 days?
Yeah, that's not
I don't think it's going to happen.
All right, next up, Zeke suspension. Ezekiel Elliott. This seems like
I don't want to do this anymore.
This is the song that never ends.
I don't want to do this again.
It's the story that never ends. Ezekiel Elliott was supposed to be suspended at the beginning of the season. There's been about 27,000 different appeals. It's gone to different courts, different systems, and we're still trying to figure out if Ezekiel Elliott is actually going to serve this suspension this year. My inclination at this moment of time, he is.
I'm done guessing about this.
I'm
literally done
As
guessing.
we speak right now, it's 2:36 Pacific time, and here in Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, Mountain Standard Time, Pacific time.
Sure.
Right now, Ezekiel Elliott cannot play. But there is the opportunity for him to appeal, which we all know he's going to appeal. He's appealed every single time there's been the opportunity to do that. Chris, I'm asking you right now.
Yes.
Do you think Ezekiel Elliott is going to start this upcoming Sunday?
Yes.
Wow.
I think he submits the next appeal in whatever. Because what court? I don't even know what court they're on now. They were in the 2nd, the 5th circuit.
They're in like the 5th circuit.
I have zero clue where they're at in terms of this situation right now. So that being said, I think he plays this Sunday. I think he appeals. We go through this process. The court can't rule on the appeal until like next week or a couple of weeks, and Zeke gets to play. That being said, I fully believe Ezekiel Elliott serves this suspension at some point this season, and I think it happens during the fantasy football playoff year. I think that's when it happens, and people who are Ezekiel Elliott owners are going to have to deal with what comes with that.
Yeah, no, I'm 100%.
I hate this situation. I know this is a weird thing to say.
I'm just tired of talking about it.
This is why I didn't draft Ezekiel Elliott, because I was not going to have to decide on a weekly basis whether or not I was playing him. There are some people who wouldn't draft him because of moral reasons. It's fantasy football. It's fun. Whatever. It is what it is. I don't know if he's going to play every week, and to hold a roster spot on a guy who at some point is going to potentially miss 6 straight games.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's been a tough. If you're a fantasy football owner, take all the other stuff aside. I know very serious allegations against Ezekiel Elliott, everything that has happened thus far. Jerry Jones's comments are always continuously very interesting, and his comments about this, you obviously know the weight that Jerry Jones has in the NFL, his name, what he carries. He's the most influential owner in the NFL. But it seems like Roger Goodell is not going to back off on this one. It's very similar to the situation that happened with Tom Brady, where you saw Robert Kraft, who is probably the 2nd most influential owner and very close to Roger Goodell. But they made a case out of Tom Brady, and they were not backing off. And I think the same thing is happening here with the league. The league is not going to back down, and Ezekiel Elliott is going to serve that suspension. Whether that is now or it's the beginning of the season, we're still waiting on, but it does look like as of right now he will not be starting, which means you're going to have to go figure out something else, and hopefully you did, because hopefully at the beginning of the season you thought that Ezekiel Elliott wasn't going to be playing and you have a different backup running back that not named Darren McFadden.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be the NFL spokesperson here because they mess things up on a constant basis.
No, I can't even begin to try and figure that out.
They want the ability to be able to levy these suspensions and have them served in a timely manner. They want to set the precedent here to where this doesn't happen all the time, because you know what? Tom Brady did it, and he was able to delay the suspension by a year. Ezekiel Elliott is so far being able to delay the suspension basically on a weekly basis. Other players who get suspended are going to go down this same path. The NFL is trying to set the standard here that this isn't the case, because look, from a fantasy perspective, if you have a player who gets suspended and you got to deal with this every year, it is going to get tiresome as a fantasy owner.
Yeah, no, and the thing with it, I'm tired of dealing with the Zeke situation.
I can't keep up. That's the problem.
I have him on my fantasy team. Okay, I have Ezekiel Elliott. I drafted him in the 4th round, I think, because at the time I thought that he was not going to be starting. I just picked up, I told you earlier when we did the podcast, which shout out if you are on iTunes, go download the podcast.
Every day.
The Keepers, subscribe to that. We're doing it every single day. But I picked up Jay Ajayi because my buddy in my high school league rage dropped.
This is the worst league ever.
He rage dropped Jay Ajayi.
Is there any openings in this league for me to join?
No.
All right.
16-team league. All my buddies from high school have been playing since we were 16 years old.
You thinking about making it a 17-team league anytime soon?
No, and you're definitely not invited, Chris.
All right, I'm not on the list.
You're not,
I'm the Jimmy G
on the list. You're the Jimmy G of the show. We've already decided. I just love that the assumption has been made that I am Tom Brady. I love that assumption that's been made. Thank you to Jamie for that assumption.
I will defer and say that I am probably the Jimmy G of the show. We didn't have to announce that to the world, though. We could have kept that in-house. But, hey, you know, we're here now. So
Jamie's here taking shots at everybody, and that's why we love
Can we talk about my favorite trade of the day?
You sure can. I'll let you announce this
I love this Kelvin Benjamin trade.
Yeah, big
so
one.
the Panthers send Kelvin Benjamin to Buffalo for a 3rd and a 7th round pick. I absolutely 100% love this trade for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, it's a huge trade.
Zay Jones was the guy that had the most targets on this team so far.
Give me those stats that you brought out earlier.
37 targets for Zay Jones. He's only caught 10 of them.
Yeah, and it's been 8 weeks.
8 weeks,
just so
10 catches, doesn't have a touchdown. LeGarrette Blount has 38 catches on the season. He has more catches than Zay Jones. LaShawn McCoy, I'm sorry.
Yes.
He has more catches than Zay Jones has targets.
And LaShawn McCoy is a running back. He's a running back, okay? This changes their whole offense.
Yep.
This changes their whole offense. They're bringing in a #1 overall wide receiver, big body, big guy, jumping ability, red zone target, a different thing that Tyrod Taylor has not had. So you're a Tyrod Taylor owner.
I think his value goes up.
Value goes up. Honestly, because LaShawn McCoy, his value is already so high, but now they're not going to have to just respect the run defensively, and they're going to have opportunities to throw the ball that LaShawn McCoy is probably going to be able to run the ball even more effectively.
I love this trade for the Buffalo wide receiver depth. I think if you're a Zay Jones owner, you can hold on to him a little bit more. If you have Andre Holmes, you can hold on to him a little bit more because I think their value is going to go up as well. There's no pressure for one of them to be the #1 wide receiver. They can end up being the #2, maybe even some cases the #3 wide receiver in some of these offenses. So I think Kelvin Benjamin being in there is a huge bonus for Buffalo. But I want to talk about the Carolina side for a second here. Because we talked about this on Sunday on Picks with Pancakes, that I thought the stats and the trends were showing that Devin Funchess was becoming the #1 wide receiver in that offense. Well, there's no question now. Devin Funchess has to be the #1 wide receiver in this Carolina offense. And if he is not, then Carolina has a major problem because Christian McCaffrey hasn't become, and you know what, Paige, I was ready to be done with Christian McCaffrey. And now that I'm thinking about it, I wonder if I need to hold on to Christian McCaffrey a little bit more because they don't have another pass catcher in that offense. Curtis Samuel may have an increased role. They don't have Greg Olsen, so everybody involved in that offense right now is going to have to really step it up. So I'm intrigued to see this from the Carolina perspective.
Yeah, I am also intrigued. We got a couple of different comments on
Any about me?
On Twitter. No, nothing about you.
Right.
Nothing about you right now. They just want to know what our value is on Cam Newton right now. Without Kelvin Benjamin, this offense has struggled over the last couple of weeks. Cam Newton was looking like he was approaching that 2013, 2014 status. You know, over the last couple of years, he had a down year last year. And this year, he's been up and down. The first couple of weeks, not so good. The last few weeks, not so good. I think you take away his #1 target, there's no way his value goes up.
Okay. I think Cam Newton is still a start in a 16-team league.
Okay.
I still think Cam Newton is a start in a 20-team league.
In a 12-team league, he's on the border.
In a 12-team league, I am not ready to say Cam Newton is a top 12 quarterback in the NFL for fantasy right now. I'm not ready to say it.
I'm with you.
You're getting phone calls during the show?
Oh, yeah. I'm popular.
People are calling in now.
I'm popular.
Is that even possible? Could they do that way?
Yeah, I'm popular. I don't even
You
know.
now broke the Periscope.
Yeah, I broke the Periscope.
This is your fault.
Slap down.
No,
sorry, guys.
You're done. You've now ended the Periscope. See, Paige, this is why the live stream viewers and I get along so well, because I don't disrespect them the way you disrespect the Periscope. You're just ending the stream right here in the middle, okay?
Oh, it's so good. We'll get back to anybody that wants to be on Periscope. We'll get back to them later. But let's get into Trade Tuesday.
I got some good ones.
You got some good ones here.
I need to get on my phone, so excuse the non-etiquette here.
Oh, no, we're all about the technology.
I need to get the actual trades here in front of me.
Yeah, this is Chris and I,
them to be accurate.
On our podcast that we did right before the show, we talked a lot about these trades, and just the fact that Chris has been offered up some pretty what's the word I want to use? Trash,
there's an update.
Garbage trades.
I got a third offer.
Oh, here we go.
So the first offer
trade offer
is Orleans Darkwa, the New York running back. I think that's the first time all day I said it right.
Yeah,
Darkwa.
that's correct. Tried saying his name about 4 times.
LeGarrette Blount and Josh Doxson. Okay. Those are the 3 players I'm receiving. I am giving up Christian McCaffrey and DeMarco Murray.
No.
So then there's another offer. This is better. This is even better.
This is a good bet.
I can have my choice of Marquise Lee or Devontae Parker. I know. Big-time wide receivers.
Still not doing it. No.
And Josh Doctson, and a running back for Christian McCaffrey, DeMarco Murray, and a wide receiver.
No.
So then,
who is in your league?
So then,
bring me in.
This said friend, one of my best friends. I won't rat him out here in front of everybody.
Oh, rat him out live here.
Then said that he's getting Larry Fitzgerald, and it's like now this opens up the opportunity for me to trade you a big wide receiver, like because I know you're a big fan of AJ Green and Tyreek Hill. He said, so what could you offer for AJ Green or Tyreek Hill? So I said I could start with Christian McCaffrey and Tyler Lockett, and we can add in a wide receiver or running back, whichever position you need more.
Okay.
And go there.
Okay.
So then he counters. This is the counter.
No.
Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
Mark Ingram.
Yeah, no.
And Corey Davis for Darkwa. I don't want him because I can't say his name. LeGarrette Blount and Tyreek Hill.
That's a big fat no.
That I think is worse than the other trades that I got.
That's
I think
awful.
it's worse. I think it's worse.
It's
so I'm saying
happening.
no. I'm saying no to all three trades.
These are some of the worst trades I've ever seen
on air. I've never accepted a trade Tuesday.
That's because everybody in your league sucks.
They're not
They
good.
offer up bad trades.
These are bad trades.
These are trash.
So,
they're really bad. Somebody is trying to trade me Cam Newton. Real bad.
What's the trade offer? I mean, Cam Newton's good if you're giving up nothing.
Listen, I don't need a quarterback. I have Deshaun Watson. At this, Deshaun Watson has sat out in his bye week, and I don't need him. I'm like, why am I going to start? I'm never going to start Cam Newton over Deshaun Watson at this point. There's no reason to give me that trade. So, Jeff.
Oh, see, you're not lying.
Oh, I'm going right there. Jeff, I hope you're watching the show. This is me rejecting your trade live on the air. No, I'm not trading for Cam Newton. I do not need him, and you better come with something better. Okay. That's what you got to do to your friends. You got to call them out, Chris.
Yeah, but see, if I call them out, then they don't want to trade with me.
Well, the trades have been bad already.
That's true.
Anyways, let's talk about the performances of the week.
All right,
we're reviewing Week 8.
I got some good ones.
These are the best part of this and the performances that happened is that the four guys that we're about to talk about, none of them were the guys that we were overwhelmingly in love with at the beginning of the season. Would you agree?
I don't think I would have drafted any of these four guys when the season started.
That's exactly
Maybe one
right.
of them.
That's exactly right. So the first guy we're talking about here is Jerick McKinnon of the Minnesota Vikings.
Look at me, it just appears like that. You can just make it.
I know.
See, that's why
Read
you're
off these numbers.
That's why you're the Tom Brady of the show. You can just snap your fingers and make them appear.
Chris, you're so smart.
122 yards, 1 touchdown, 26.2 total points for Jerick McKinnon. That's a pretty good game.
The big thing there is the APY,
the all-purpose
yards.
Yeah.
He had more receiving yards than he did running yards.
He's a factor in both areas of the game.
Yes, 100%. The Minnesota Vikings are rolling. They are 6-2. Offensively, they're good. Defensively, we know what they can do. This team, without Dalvin Cook, Jerick McKinnon's value is very high. And I love this. This is the type of performance. I know a lot of people. I was talking to my boyfriend yesterday. People are trying to trade him, Jerick McKinnon.
Yes.
He's like, please, what do I got to give away to get Jerick McKinnon? Because McKinnon's value is only going to continue to be very high because there's no other back that's going to take touches away from him.
Yeah, I mean, Latavius Murray had one good game last week. Didn't have a really good game this week.
He can get his touches, but McKinnon's used in a different way.
Yes, he is. So I like Jerick McKinnon moving forward.
All right, Jack Doyle.
This is interesting.
This is the outlier of the group.
I was not expecting this big of a game, and I think it's going to come down to earth here. 12 receptions, 121 yards, 1 touchdown, 30.1 fantasy points.
30.
Look, Jack Doyle's a guy that you probably didn't even have on your radar as a tight end target before the season. I know he was one of my fringe guys that I wanted to get in my bench rounds, kind of stash away.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to get him, but this is finally that big game that you wanted from him, and he had a really good performance.
Well, the thing with Jack is that he is getting a lot of targets. He's seeing a lot of targets throughout the last couple of weeks, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Jacoby Brissett, in an offense that he's not familiar with, this is the target. This is the safety blanket. That's what the tight end position is. And Jack Doyle, you saw him in a lot of those broken coverages, getting those touches, getting those receptions. And if you are a Jack Doyle owner, there is nothing better than what he did last week. Now, going forward, do I think he's going to eclipse the 30 points that he had last week?
No.
Absolutely not. He's going to come back down to earth. But if you are a tight end owner and Jack Doyle is available, unless you have Travis Kelce or Jordan Reed or Rob Gronkowski, this is a guy, or Zach Ertz, you might want to take a look at this guy on a week-to-week basis because other than the four guys that I just mentioned, the tight end position overall isn't really great.
It's trash. It's garbage.
Say it again?
Trash, garbage, what else you want? It's been bad. It has been a bad group this year.
All right, let's talk about Robbie Anderson.
Let's. Let's talk about
Let's let the Jets fan talk about Robbie Anderson.
6 catches, 104 yards, 1 touchdown, had a really good game. The Jets unfortunately lost to the Atlanta Falcons in a very rain-heavy game that I didn't think there was going to be a whole lot of passing. But Robbie Anderson had a really good game, and I think this is a guy who's probably a flex play for most people. And again, there's a lot of overreaction to one big performance. So, so when we talk about Robbie Anderson as one of our performers of the week, this is one of those guys that I don't think his performance this week changes his value. I still think he's a flex play most weeks. He may be able to sneak into the back half of your wide receiver group, but he's a useful player in this offense, and they like him a ton. Him and Jermaine Kearse and Austin Seferian-Jenkins, they're going to get the ball thrown their way. And Robbie Anderson made the most of it this week by being able to get into the end zone.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of what Robbie Anderson did this week. I know our intern, Adonis, was asked ahead of time whether or not to start Robbie Anderson, and both of us said no.
I know.
And he was very upset.
He's upset at us.
He's
but
very
the problem
upset with both of us.
See, the problem is he, in the past, has not taken our advice, and he's been wrong.
And he's wrong.
So
yeah. Well, you know what's going to happen, too. He's going to start Robbie Anderson this week, even after we tell him not to.
Yeah.
And then Robbie Anderson's not going to have a good
And then he's going to get mad at us.
Yeah, oh,
somehow.
For sure. I can already forecast what's going to happen
I can
in this
see
game.
it Sunday in the horizon.
Yeah, I can see Sunday in the future. All right, last up here.
Another Minnesota Viking.
Adam Thielen.
This was another good performance. 98 yards, the touchdown, 20.8 fantasy points. And look, Adam Thielen is a wide receiver, too. I'm ready for it. I'm here for it. Adam Thielen, wide receiver, too.
I love it.
It's a claim. I'm making it. This guy is useful in this offense.
Yeah, and
Stephon Diggs takes a lot of the number one targets, but Adam Thielen is going to get his every week.
Well, and the thing here is that you were worried about the quarterback position. You're worried that Sam Bradford goes down. Case Keenum is the guy who's been throwing them the ball. But Case Keenum has shown you enough to trust this guy, and you have to trust what you're seeing. The Minnesota Vikings are a very good football team, and here's the hot take. Teddy Bridgewater
the fire emojis.
might be coming back here pretty soon.
Well, this is my hot take.
But I'm telling you, if Case Keenum continues to win with this football team, they're not going to sit Case Keenum. And if they do, that's a very bad mistake.
Yeah,
very bad mistake.
I think if Case Keenum continues to play the way that he's playing, you cannot justify playing Teddy Bridgewater. I get it. He's back. You want to see what you have in him because, again, they have a decision to make at the end of the year with him, with his contract, and that affects everything. But remember, I told everyone to pick up Teddy Bridgewater, what, like 3 or 4 weeks ago?
This is your little,
I've been working on this for a little while now.
You've been all about this.
I said he's going to start more games than Sam Bradford. And if the Vikings begin to struggle, they lose 2 or 3 games in a row, you're going to start to hear, oh, Teddy Bridgewater's getting closer. He's ready to go. He's going to be able to return to this team. I would not be surprised. Because, again, it's Case Keenum that if he plays poorly for a 2 or 3 game stretch, that Teddy Bridgewater is not back under center for the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, we got a couple of questions about Derek Carr.
Guys, I know Derek Carr's not playing well. I get it. It's a tough decision. I understand.
It's just the thing is, and you heard Rodney Harrison, strong words in Sunday Night Football. He called him overrated. It was a very passionate, very intense talking to because Derek Carr got paid a lot of money this offseason. He has been praised and not really given the proper criticism. And I'm not ready to throw away the overrated word like Rodney Harrison did, but I would say under-criticized. Guys like Matthew Stafford, guys like quarterbacks around the league just continue to get huge amounts of criticism. And for whatever reason, Derek Carr, who has not played well at all this season, has been not getting that type of criticism, and I just really don't know why that is.
I don't know. He's been, look, in a 12-team league, I'm not playing him.
Yeah.
I think in a 16-team league, I'm playing him.
Okay.
I think he's still a 16.
Depends on the matchup.
It does. It does. And he had a tough matchup, and we talked about this. We told everyone, look, this is a bad matchup for Derek Carr this week. Don't be surprised if he doesn't play well, and he didn't. So
yeah, those guys that go on the road and play in those specific matchups, I just don't ever think that it turns out very well for them. All right, this guy tweeted in and asked what he should do with Christian McCaffrey, or should he keep Carlos Hyde? He's asking between those two guys, and I think the question mark here is, obviously, we talked about the trades earlier on in the show. Christian McCaffrey now, obviously, with the Carolina Panthers, does his value go up or does it go down, considering that Calvin Benjamin was just traded away? And Carlos Hyde, what happens to his value now that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starting quarterback? I'll let you answer this question first. That's your answer, Chris? That's all you got for me? Not even any words? Oh,
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
What do you want me to say?
Give me your gut reaction.
I am the vice president of the Christian McCaffrey fan club. Okay, I'm the vice president of the Christian McCaffrey fan.
And how's that been treated?
It's not going well, and I want to drop him. But then I look at today's trade. He's got to get more touches. They need people that can catch the ball.
Here's the thing. Nobody has to get anything. And this is the thing we fall in love with. We go, oh, it's got to happen. This has got to happen. No. It's been 8 weeks. Christian McCaffrey has not, he is touchdown dependent. That's the problem with McCaffrey. He gets the same amount of targets almost every week, but he is touchdown dependent. And the Carolina Panthers in totality as an offense are taking a step backwards, and that's why I don't like McCaffrey's value. It has less to do with McCaffrey. It's more to do with the Carolina Panthers overall. Right, and I think with Carlos Hyde, if that's the other choice here, I think his value goes up with Garoppolo coming in. It has to go up. I think everyone in that San Francisco offense goes up. I think you're looking at Pierre Garçon, Marquise Goodwin, George Kittle. I'm going to still make George Kittle a thing. I'm going to do it. Oh, boy. And you're still here making George Kittle a thing. I'm certainly going to try. So I think all their value goes up because of the quarterback they're playing with. But I want to see it. I said 2 weeks for Garoppolo. I need to see it on 2 separate games to be able to buy into him and that team in terms of fantasy. All right, we got a question about Dez Bryant and A.J. Green. Who we like more. Dez Bryant had a couple of good weeks in a row. Then I talked about him on Sunday morning, and he wasn't quite as good this week. He didn't have a huge Dez Bryant game. I think the interesting thing here is to note, and the guy who tweeted us, John, on Twitter, said without Ezekiel Elliott, he's nervous about what is going to happen to Dez Bryant because now they don't have to respect the run. And it's going to be easier defensively to schematically set up and take away Dez Bryant when you don't have to respect the fact that Ezekiel Elliott's in the backfield. Yeah. And I'm 100% with you. Counter to all that. Andy Dalton is the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. That is true. That's my counter. Because he's not been great this year. A.J. Green's been pretty good. But A.J. Green has been good, and he's been able to do that despite Andy Dalton being a bad quarterback. So I'm taking A.J. Green over Dez Bryant. I'm taking A.J. Green for the rest of the season, and it has more to do with the fact that I truly believe that Dez Bryant or that Ezekiel Elliott's going to sit out these next 6 games. Yeah, we got our producers, our production team is taking selfies in the background. I think they're trying to distract us now. I think it's their goal every time we get on here to try to distract me in particular. Because I'm all over the place. I mean, if you watch these shows, my eyes go everywhere. I am very easily distracted. There's a cup behind the camera over there. I'm staring at that. I get easily distracted. Chris, we're going to end with this one. This one comes from Redman Light on Twitter, and he wants to know what our thoughts are on Devin Funchess going forward now that Kelvin Benjamin has been traded. Easy for you to say, Kelvin Benjamin. Look, he has to be the #1 wide receiver. I know you hate me using that has to be. But he is. But he's the #1 wide receiver. He was getting the most targets the last couple of weeks. He was getting more targets than Kelvin Benjamin. So this is nothing new. He had been the top target in this offense. The problem is they had to respect Kelvin Benjamin and what he could do. I'm not sure there's another wide receiver in this offense because there's no Greg Olsen. I don't know if I like Curtis Samuel a whole lot yet. And Christian McCaffrey's been up and down. Is there another threat in the passing game that I respect enough in that Carolina offense to make me feel that teams are not going to sell out for Devin Funchess? And I don't know that yet. Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you. I don't anticipate that there is any way that Devin Funchess cannot become more valuable. There's just no way because they took away the only other wide receiver. They don't have Greg Olsen. And McCaffrey, although he has been utilized in that way, I don't think that's going to take away the type of touches that Devin Funchess is going to get. And Ed Dixon's kind of a thing. He's kind of there. But is he good enough to be a target that people pay attention to? He's not Greg Olsen. I don't think so. He's not Olsen. Exactly. He's not the type of tight end or position player that gets those type of touches from Cam Newton. I'm worried about this offense in whole. Yeah, I don't think this Carolina offense is looking pretty good. That's why I'm trying to trade Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, that's why you're trying to trade Christian McCaffrey, and that's why Jeff still not accepting Cam Newton. It's not happening, buddy. I'm not doing it. Did you just see what Deshaun Watson did? We did not talk about that performance, but what a performance that was. That was we kind of called that. We had a gut feeling that he was going to have just some. Again, they lost, but he played well. Here's the thing. Like I said on Twitter, Deshaun Watson played against Alabama in the national championship game. Twice. The kid lost 3 total games in all of college. His whole college career, 3 in total. He was not afraid to go up to Seattle and play a football game. And he's a good player. If anybody has been to a great college football atmosphere over NFL atmosphere.
I agree.
It's not even close. So if Deshaun Watson was not afraid to go up to play in Seattle, sorry 12s, but they're not afraid.
4 touchdowns. I know he had the 3 picks.
40 points.
42.7 points he got.
Unbelievable game.
In my league, I had him. I played Jameis Winston this week. Winston got 0.7.
Yeah. Shout out to Deshaun for leading me to victory.
That's right. He helped me out.
He's my man. I love him. I might get a Deshaun Watson jersey just because of.
Are you crushing on Deshaun Watson?
Oh, that's a full-blown that's a full-blown love affair. It's way past the crush stage. Chris, how can everybody follow you on Twitter?
Follow me at Chris R. Schubert. All the Twitter hate. All of the bad Halloween candy takes, you can come my way.
Yeah, he doesn't like Reese's peanut butter cups, so
not in the top 5.
I'm not even gonna. Wow.
Not in the top 5.
We're gonna leave with that. I am. You can follow me at _sports page, and if you tweet me about Reese's peanut butter cups being bad,
do it.
You will get blocked on Twitter.
Way.
I can guarantee that. Chris is getting blocked for 24 hours. That's what's happening after the show.
What I do.
If you want to follow us at The Keepers FF for fantasy football, but for Chris Schubert, I'm Paige DIMAKOS. Happy Halloween, everybody.